So, real estate team leader, solo agent, or real estate broker? Which one is the best fit for you, and what business model should you be working towards? Well, in this video, we're gonna go over some important things like the education requirements, how profitable each one is, and ultimately some of the pros and cons of each of these models so you can decide which one's right for you. So let's dive right into the video. Okay, so this video is gonna be a really comprehensive breakdown of each one of these things. Now, many real estate agents wonder which one they should do. Should they become a real estate team leader? Should they stay a solo agent? Or should they start their own brokerage and get their broker's license? Well, in this video, I hope to give you a really comprehensive view of the pros and cons of each one and hopefully help you decide which one's right for you to help you along your real estate journey and your journey of entrepreneurship. So let's start out with the solo agent and team leader. So these are the most common ones. If you're just starting out, this is the bucket that you're probably going to fall into. So a solo agent, you're only going to be required to have a salesperson's license. Same thing with a team leader in most states. So that's the good news. The barrier to entry is quite a bit lower to become a team leader or a solo agent. Now, if you want to jump here and become a broker, the bar does raise quite a bit. In most states, you're going to be required to have at least 2 years of full-time real estate experience, and you're going to have to take more education classes. And these classes can be quite extensive. In some cases, they're even more extensive and harder to pass than your salesperson license that you took to begin with. So you're going to have to study hard. And if you want to check out and see if there's any broker classes, if you want to go down this road at the end of the video, definitely click the link below. Real Estate Express, we have an affiliate program with them, and they do a great job with real estate education, and they do a lot of it online. So you could do it from the convenience of your own home, and it makes it really great. So broker's license is going to take more commitment. It's going to take more time in the business, and oftentimes you're going to have to take another test to get your license. So the barrier to entry is a lot higher here. Now, with that being said, I want to dive into the margins and the opportunity of each one of these buckets. So let's start off with a solo real estate agent. What are the benefits of being a solo real estate agent? This is where I started. So when I first started, I got licensed like many people. They start off as a solo real estate agent. And a lot of people want to move over to become team leaders or real estate brokers because they think it's going to be a lot more profitable. And that can be true. If you have a large team and a really successful team or a really large brokerage, it can be more profitable because you simply have more scale. But being a solo agent is going to give you the highest margins and the highest margin of error if you're running a business as a brand new business owner, because you're not going to have to pay staff, you're not going to have to pay office leases, you're not going to have to pay a ton of overhead, and you're going to stay lean and mean while you try to figure out this real estate business. And that's the best part about being a solo agent. Another good thing is you don't have a ton of management. As a solo real estate agent, you don't have to manage people. You don't have a team under you. You don't have a staff under you. You're basically a one-man show or a one-woman show, and you pretty much get to make your own schedule and decide what goes. So if you don't show up to work, you don't show up to work, but you're not going to have to worry about people on your team or people at your brokerage that aren't performing or aren't doing the things that you want them to do. So it's much less management intensive. Another thing is it's very low risk. So being a solo agent, you might be buying leads, you might be doing things like that, and that could be a cost. But other than that, you don't have a lot of risk. Most times you can start this business for a couple $1,000s and get it off the ground with some hard work, especially if you go the route of prospecting and you don't dump a lot of money into online leads. You can get this business off the ground for a couple $1,000s. Look into programs like Vulcan 7. There's an affiliate link down below for that as well. They have like expired leads, for sale by owner leads, all that kind of stuff. And that stuff you can just prospect, talk to homeowners, and hopefully start getting listings for your business so that you can start making money right away and you have much lower risk because you have lower expenses as a solo agent. Now, once you become successful here, a lot of people want to jump to the team leader category. And that's what I did. After a couple of years in the business, I decided I wanted to become a team leader. Now, you might be asking, if this is higher margins, why do people want to become team leaders? And some days I ask myself that too. Like, what am I doing this all for? Because the margins aren't that big. But the good thing about starting a team is you get to help agents become successful. You get to add scale to your business. So, imagine this. If you're a solo agent and you're working really hard, you're selling 40 houses a year. Okay. So you got 40 houses, you're probably working 60 hours a week. Okay. So you're doing 60 hours a week. You got 40 houses. So you're getting to that point of burnout and you love what you do, but you're just burnt out. You're on the road all the time. You're probably eating at, fast food places and things are getting exhausting. And at that point in time, people wonder, how can I grow this business? What can I do next? Because I'm getting burned out. So at that point in time, a lot of people will start real estate teams. So that's when the scale comes in place and you say, okay, what can I do to get 10 agents on my team and each help them each sell 20 houses a year, right? So they're making a great income on your team. They don't have any expenses because you're paying for their leads, you're getting them deals, you cover all the things that they would need to be successful. So it's like a business in a box for them. They also get your mentorship because again, you're a successful agent, you're doing 40 deals a year, you know the ropes and you know how to get them off the ground and make them successful. So 20 deals a year and you get 10 agents doing that. Now you're at 200 deals, okay? Now, what are you doing during your time now? It's not like you can just sit on the beach and have those 200 deals roll in. Well, what you're doing is you're recruiting agents, you're training agents, you're working on lead systems, so leads come in the door. You're working on follow-up systems. Maybe you're training ISAs to cold call those leads. So that's where you get hit here with the margin, right? So it's higher scale, but it's lower margin because the profit margins shrink dramatically because what's going to happen is sure, you're going to do 200 deals, but on the average deal, you're going to have a deal come through the door, say it's $5,000, right? And you're going to pay your agent 50% of that. So they're going to take $2,500. Okay, cool. Then you're going to pay your transaction coordinator. Say you pay them $400 per deal. Okay, now you're down again. And then you have the lead cost. So say it costs you, $25 per lead, which is again low if you're buying other lead sources. I've seen leads for $100, $200, $300 per lead, which is crazy. And you're probably not going to make a profit unless, the average sales price in your market is huge and crazy. But a lot of agents aren't doing the math and they're just throwing money into these online leads and they're not making a profit. But that's another story for another day. So then you got to add in the lead cost. So say on average it takes you $800 in leads to get to a sale. Okay, that's great. So now we have a situation where we're into this for $1,200, right? And you only made $2,500. Now you might have other things. You might have an office you got to pay for. You might have a CRM you have to pay for the agents to use and follow up with their clients. You might have DocuSign, .loop systems that you have to pay for. There's a million things and a million expenses that can add up on a real estate team. That's why it looks great on paper, but the margins are low. And you have to really run your numbers if you're going to go down this route, because this is where a lot of people go broke. They don't run the numbers. They think, oh, 200 deals, I want to make all this money. Well, the reality is that the margins are slim and you're going to have to do your math and you're going to have to make sure the numbers work, because it looks like you're making a lot of money on paper and your agents on your team are going to think you're just making millions of dollars a year, but you're putting very little money in your pocket after everything's paid, because at the end of the day, you have to pay all the bills. And that's the challenge with this model. That's why it's higher risk, right? So this model is medium risk. It's not low risk. It's not super high risk because you don't have a giant staff. A lot of real estate teams are lean and mean. They're 5 to 10 agents. They carry a couple $1,000 sometimes up to $5,000 to $10,000 a month in expenses. And it's manageable, right? It's not super high risk, and a lot of team leaders are still in production, so they're putting up numbers and it offsets it and it works out okay. But you just have to be really careful because you're managing people. That's gonna basically take time away from your real estate business that you already have going. So you're gonna be pulled away from your clients. You're gonna make less money from your own personal production, and you're gonna have to put more time into the agents. So you're gonna produce less money because you're gonna be working on the business and less in the business. So that's to keep in mind about real estate teams. They can be profitable. They can be good because they scale a little bit more. You're not trading time for money for every single deal, but you have a lot more on your plate. And you're gonna have to train agents. You're gonna have to invest a lot of time, money, resources into agents. You're gonna be let down a lot. Agents are going to leave after you spent 6 months training them and showing them the ropes. A million things can happen, and this can be a really painful journey filled with ups and downs that are amplified even more than when you're a sole agent. Because being a sole agent, a lot of it's on you. And, if you let yourself down, you let yourself down. You can just say, hey, that's my fault, I did it. And you can be mad at yourself, but it is what it is. With something like this, you have a team. You're relying on people. You're building a culture. There's a lot of moving pieces, and it can be packed with ups and downs. So just be prepared for it. It's one of the most rewarding things you can do. Helping agents succeed and helping them build a successful business is awesome. Like, it's one of the most rewarding things. But you have to realize that it's going to be a lot of work, and it's not just setting up a team and then sitting on a beach and collecting commissions, because it's really hard. There's a lot of expenses involved, and you have to know that going into it. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about the high risk option. So this is where a lot of people want to be. This is a broker. So a lot of people want to be here. Some of my friends have started brokerages, and I've looked into the business model as well, and it's really high risk. So is it something I personally want to do? Probably not, because it's just really high risk, and the reward, it just doesn't seem like it's there unless you have a massive office. And then with a massive office comes even more liability. So I'm not a huge fan, but again, if it's something that you truly want to do and you want to build a mega real estate office and have hundreds or thousands of agents, there are people that have made a lot of money. In fact, there's a lot of people that have made millions doing this. And there are a lot of people that have gone broke doing this. So again, it's a business model, and you just have to make sure it's right for you. So one of the things is high risk. Another thing is you're looking at more management and more liability. So with a real estate brokerage, the management is going to be a little different. So it's not so much as like a team leader is going to be looking at, okay, are these agents converting leads? Are they following up? Are they doing that? It's more like a sales manager kind of role, whereas a real estate broker is more like compliance. So they're looking to make sure that you're doing the right thing, that you're following the code of ethics, that you're doing all the legalities of it. So they have a team to check your paperwork to make sure everything's in order and all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. So that's what they're doing. They're looking at it from more of a compliance standpoint. And team leaders do that as well, but they're not licensed brokers. So the licensed broker is going to do that more, and they're going to make sure that everything is staying together and everything is organized. So their team is going to be a little different. So they have agents under them. So the brokerage might have 100, 200, 300, 400 agents that are all, splitting a tiny bit of commission to the main brokerage company, but they have a team of admins. So they might have someone that's cutting the checks. They might have someone that's looking through all the compliance stuff for all the paperwork and all the purchase and sales agreements. They have a front desk person that's answering inbound calls. There's an office in most cases, like an office lease. So they're going to have that they're paying for. So the risk is high, management is high, everything is higher. It's just a more risky game, and the margins are even lower than a team. Now, what's going to happen though is with a real estate brokerage, it can scale. So that's the upside to it, because you might be wondering, like, what's the benefit of this? This sounds like it's all risk, no reward. Like, why would anybody want to do this? Well, the reason people do it is because it scales. So a real estate team, unless you're going to spend a ton of money on leads, and you can build it out to something really big, but most real estate teams are, 5, 10, 20, 30 agents max kind of thing. They're not usually ginormous, right? And if you want to build something huge, a lot of times people become brokers and they start building offices. And when you build offices, if you have 5, 6, 7, 800 agents that are, say, paying a 25 or 30% split, that can become very lucrative. And it can become a business that scales to the moon and makes you very wealthy as a real estate entrepreneur. So that's the benefit of playing in the sandbox. Another benefit is you're the owner of your own company, and that is awesome. Again, even as a solo agent or a team leader, you're self-employed. You do work under and with an experienced licensed broker. They call the managing broker, but you do own your own business and you are self-employed. You're a 1099 contractor. So, you don't have a boss right now per se, but as a broker, you really don't have anybody looking over you at all. Everything's up to you. It's if you mess up, you mess up, and there's a lot of liability to it. So in my opinion, unless you're going to build a ginormous office and just spend all your time prospecting for new agents, recruiting and training, this model is something that I probably wouldn't go towards. But people do it and people make a lot of money doing it. So again, if this is something that you're interested in doing, don't let me discourage you from doing it, because it could be a really good thing, and it has been a really good thing for a lot of people. I just wanted to outline some of the pros and cons of each of these. Either way, whatever route you decide to go, I would suggest that owning property is probably the fastest and simplest way to wealth in real estate. This is a really good cash flow business. This is a really good cash flow business with some scale. And this is also a cash flow business, but it's also a scalable business, but it's also a risky business. So, you gotta look at the pros and cons of each. You have to decide what your goals are and where you're trying to take this thing. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters and that's what counts. Because if you jump into one of these business models just because you think you're gonna make a boatload of money and you don't do it for the right reasons, things are gonna crash and you're going to have a really bad experience. So I hope this video helped you out. I hope it helped you see the differences between, being a broker, being a team leader, and being a solo agent. And, drop a comment below and let me know which one you're most interested in. So if you like this kind of content for real estate entrepreneurs, hit the like button and subscribe. We come out with content every single week. Thanks so much for watching and have an awesome day.